everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today's podcast is slightly different in tone due to the significance of this day. Now, there's no editing, no real production, but nonetheless a very important moment in time I feel compelled to share. Exactly 1 year from today, the U.S. will exercise its most treasured and valuable act of democracy, the power to vote. Now, one thing that Unconditionally Her does not engage in and won't engage in is taking a side in the world of politics. It's a personal choice for women who, how, and what you vote for. But that being said, there's never been a time in history that voting has been more important, especially for women. And I believe it's crucial to understand the significance of women's participation in the democratic process. Thus, this podcast. You see, voting has been a fundamental right and a privilege that many people around the world don't have. Have you ever really thought about that? By not exercising your right to vote, you are essentially giving up your power to make a difference in your community and in your country. And while some may argue that they don't want to get involved with politics or that their vote won't make a difference, and yes, that was me probably for 40 years of my life, the truth is every vote does count, and it has swayed elections. It's important to remember that these politicians are elected to represent the people. That's us women. And if you don't vote, you're essentially letting someone else make those decisions for you. Furthermore, voting is not about just choosing the next president or the next governor. It's about choosing the people who will represent you at the local and the state levels too. These people are responsible for making decisions about important issues that directly affect your life. Education, there's healthcare, and taxes. By not voting, you're missing out on an opportunity to have a say in the future direction of your own country. Your vote can help shape the policies that will be implemented over the next few years and can even have an impact on issues that extend beyond your own country and to our sister countries abroad. So don't let apathy or disillusionment stop you from exercising your right to vote. Now, if you're like me, you're absolutely sick and tired of turning on the television or radio and hearing political rhetoric or mumbo jumbo. That really doesn't matter. It's a complete turnoff, and we as women are stressed enough with our lives, and we just don't need to hear all of that. But we women have this interesting way that we can kind of shift through take a really hard look at the issues and who we want to represent us. When women participate in elections, the diversity in viewpoints is crucial. It's crucial for crafting a well-rounded and effective policy that benefits everyone, and that's regardless of gender. Now, being political and exercising your right to vote are two very different things. I have had to breathe deep and understand that. Being political carries a negative connotation, and it implies that someone is more concerned with their own interests or agenda than the greater good. Now, if you're like me, we can talk about that subject all day. However, exercising your right to vote is an essential part of being an engaged and a responsible citizen. It means actively shaping policies and decisions that will affect your community and your country. And by voting, you're making your voice heard and you're contributing to what we have in America as a democratic process. So while being political may have its negative connotations, exercising your right to vote is positive, and it's a necessary action for anyone who wants to make a difference in this world. Now, there's no doubt discussion of politics have become increasingly divisive over the years, with people on opposite ends of the political spectrum often unable to find common ground. This has led to a breakdown in communication and a lack of progress on important issues. We all know that. However, It is possible to change this trend and create a more constructive dialogue. One key to changing the divisive nature is to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to listen to others' perspectives. Now, I know sometimes it's hard. I know. I must confess, I am terribly guilty of throwing up my hands at times in frustration and being unobjective, a hardhead, and can even verbally spew anger talking politics with those I love. Guilty as charged. But one thing I've been thinking hard about since diving into the planning of Unconditionally Her is that we have to focus on finding some kind of common ground. And maybe with the politicians right now, we can't. But what we can do is find common ground as women. That is the power of sisterhood. But what does that mean? Well, we have common grounds in the issues that affect us. And while there may be significant differences in political beliefs, I do believe that among women, there are often shared values. Perhaps by focusing on these shared values, it is possible to find areas of agreement and ultimately find an objectiveness and maybe even clarity when it comes time to cast your vote. Even if we differ in our fundamental beliefs, the one thing I think we can all agree on is women need to be represented in all areas that affect our lives and our kids' lives, whether it be education, healthcare, equal opportunities, or economic securities. Those issues impact my life and they impact your life every single day. Now, let's take a step back and honor our history. Women's suffrage, or the right of women to vote, was a long and very difficult struggle that lasted for over a century. Women fought for their right to vote, and it was only in 1920 that the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was actually ratified, giving women the right to vote. And today, women make up half the population. And when women vote and they find their voice, they set an example for the future generations of women. Now, I think we all know that in 2020, the United States presidential election saw a historic turnout of voters, including women. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, a record-breaking 74.5% of eligible women participated in the election. Women showed up, and they showed out. But we still have a ways to go. And in 1 year from today, we're going to have to show up again, and we need to make our voices heard. Women's suffrage was a hard-fought battle. We need to honor those who honored us, who fought for us. There's no better way for us to do that than for all of us women to go to the polls and exercise our right to vote and make our voices heard. Now, let's break this down. You have graciously given me 12 minutes and 28 seconds of your time. In that specific time frame in 2024, you will have had time to fill out and mail an absentee ballot if you're going to be out of town. If you are in town in a 12-minute and 28-second time frame, you can most likely drive to the closest polling site. It's our constitutional right, ladies. It is our responsibility. We've earned it, and while it still sounds a bit cliché, our vote really does matter. We owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to those we love. So, we have a year, ladies. We have a year to think, observe, listen, and then vote. Let's think on that as we begin this journey to Election Day 2024. And to all of you, thank you for always getting in on the conversation. And for today, just simply listening. Have a great day, everyone. Be inspired, be empowered, and always be unconditionally